Good evening. That's my Dracula voice. I hope you enjoyed that. You're never going to hear it again. Anyway, it's November 18th, 2019, and this is episode 6, season 4 of Uncolonized. I'm Gavin Stevens. This week we're joined by YouTube content creator Blackout666. He's been on the podcast before. He's awesome. I tour with comedy with him. He's great. You can follow him at YouTube at Blackout666, on Twitter at Black_Goat_666, and on his Patreon, Blackgoat666. I encourage you to check out his videos. He's some great ones. He does some takedowns of a lot of the subjects that we talk about, plus more. He's a leftist content creator. Anyway, this week we're talking about call out culture, primarily the things that have been going on in it. We recorded primarily the things that are going on in it. Anyway. We recorded this in September in Ottawa at B Black's apartment, so it might sound a little different, but it's B Black, myself, and Blackout666. Here we go. Thank you for joining. Remember, hey, this is the first part of this conversation. I should mention this off the top. This is the first part of a conversation. If you want the second part, you have to join us at Patreon. That's patreon.com/The Uncolonized. At $5 a month, you get 8 episodes every month, guaranteed. An hour long, probably, just under an hour. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you the times because then you're going to expect it. But yes, it's 8 episodes a month. We're going to add more to that. I still can't think of things to add to make it to sweeten the pot. But yes, this part 2 of this episode will be on our Patreon. That is patreon.com/The Uncolonized. You can also follow us at Twitter at The Uncolonized. You can follow us on Instagram at Uncolonized Pod, and on Facebook, as well as YouTube at Uncolonized Podcast. But without further ado, here we go. B Black, myself, and Blackout666 talking about call out culture. Enjoy. Welcome to Uncolonized Podcast. I'm Gavin Stevens. Each week I'm joined by my friend B Black to have a conversation about race, politics, pop culture, all from a Canadian perspective. It's a cathartic, no-holds-barred conversation between two friends. It's like being in the barbershop, but we can't cut hair. We're hot.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to, what is it? Is it season 4 of Master Race Debaters? That's something we should have checked. It's season 4, I believe. If not, it's season 3.
Yeah.
No, I believe it's season 4 of Master Race Debaters. I'm Gavin Stevens. With me is B Black.
B Black.
Also joining me on the podcast is Sam, who does not want people to know his last name. So we'll call him Sam Blank.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm not mad, man.
Sure. Yeah.
Sam, why don't you tell? You've been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everyone about yourself?
I'm hey, what's up? My name is Blackgoat666, but my friends call me Sam. I have a YouTube channel called Blackgoat666. I don't know. Maybe this is dumb being like super secretive about
No.
No?
I go by the name of B Black just because I don't want my government name out there either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I say like radical shit on my podcast, like that trans people deserve rights and that climate change is real.
Whoa.
And so,
Easy.
apparently some people don't like that. And other YouTubers have made me really paranoid about keeping everything really under wraps. So, yeah.
I'm like Superman. I just take off my glasses. And nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
So you guys can hide behind your
Ain't that Clark
your
Kent?
pseudo. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is we've had a hiatus. It's been a lovely break from bitching and moaning about racism, but racism don't stop, right? Like it continued on our break. There was many times during our last episode to this episode where I was like, we could fucking do an
Holy
episode.
shit, we got to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was-
Racism is like South Park. It does not take a break.
Nope.
It just keeps going. New episode every week.
Yeah. And it's produced in North Korea. It's hey,
Like you just pissed off South Park fans.
wait a second. Wait a
A lot
second.
of pissed off Cartman avatars
You know
in
what
my
I mean?
mentions.
So Sam, you and I were like, you want to do it? What? Why did we talk about you coming on? This is bad hosting. This is so we're Sam and I are on tour at Absolute Comedy. They're gonna find your name out, dude. We won't say what date, right? So we were on tour.
Could be
together.
anytime.
Could be anytime.
Yeah.
And we're sharing a condo and talking leftist politics and stuff like that. Sam is like very deep in it. What were we talking about?
I don't remember. I mean, like we've been talking about a lot of shit.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of yeah. I was just looking at this. B, did you see this JC thing with the NFL and those white women cutting dreadlocks?
Wait, what?
They did this in 2016. Jay-Z's, I guess his one of his charities gave money to this group of white women that go into. They didn't do this. Wasn't their charity, but they were like cutting. They're trying to help black youth, and one of their videos was them cutting off dreadlocks, like. To pledge for a better life. Like, I'm going to pledge myself to a better life. And it's like, they're going to cut off dreadlocks.
But whose dreadlocks are they cutting?
Some black kids.
What?
Yeah. They said the black kids want the dreadlocks cut off, by the way.
What the fuck?
But they're like, this is... And they said recently that they apologized for the video and stuff. But they also did an All Lives Matter tweet, too, as well.
Wow. Holy. I mean, get a clue. What the fuck?
Yeah, and Jay-Z is like... Ugh!
Well, isn't Jay-Z also like partnering with like the NFL or whatever?
Hey, no comment.
I don't think that's happening anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't it?
Good.
I don't know much about it.
I didn't hear it, but I know he. All I remember is hearing, Kaepernick, starting to put some words in action. So I'm going to join the NFL and get this fat check here. No, you know what? No, I'm not talking shit about Jay-Z because because he's done a lot of things for the community. Bailing out the dudes from Baltimore, St. Louis.
Okay.
The Mike Brown riot. He does a lot of things in the background.
Yeah.
And so I'm
then he gentrifies Brooklyn.
He gentrifies Brooklyn?
Well, with the Brooklyn Nets, right?
He gentrified Brooklyn. Wow.
Yeah. Well, he helped. He doesn't own it. He's just a face to come in there so a white company can come in and gentrify the whole neighborhood and raise prices so people can't live in that.
Jay-Z's a capitalist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a capitalist.
I mean,
yes.
I was re-listening to like 444 this week, and there's a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, this isn't great if you're like anti-capitalist. I mean,
well, most rappers aren't they? Like they're
like there's like if you're like anti-capitalist, like wanting that in your rap, it's like Boots Riley and Immortal Technique, and that's it.
But there's a difference between rapping about having and owning shit and then like gentrifying a neighborhood.
Oh
where
that's
live.
for sure.
He did say, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them.
So okay. So this is where with a lot of things that we are dealing with like it's trickle down, like trickle down economics, trickle down representation, and trickle down environmentalism. Like the idea that like if we stop using straws,
right,
that will change what's going on in the environment. So it's a lie, right? Like if I can't help the poor unless I'm a billionaire. How do you become a billionaire without the poor?
I don't know. I won't lie. Like after hearing that announcement, I started reevaluating things. Like maybe I'm the sucker. Maybe looking out for my fellow man. I should be on Go for Mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It is tough.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if any of you guys are on wanted posters, I'm selling you out. Trying to make that dime. Trying to get paid.
I'm just wondering how you time travel. Oh, I guess there are wanted posters now. I've just never seen a wanted poster. Yeah. It was like, pachoo, pachoo, wanted. Gavin Tex Stevens.
6-shooter Stevens.
Yeah. For $5 a McDonald's coffee coupon. That's the payment. If you see us on wanted poster, I guess you'd sell us out.
Like
Thanks,
the
B.
FBI, I'm just saying. I mean,
you want some money?
No, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Is since birth, I find myself constantly reflecting, questioning the idea: are we in a world where it's dog eat dog, or it's is it everyone for himself, or we're all in this together?
No, we are in a world where everyone eats himself, but the problem is that world is slowly falling apart on all the environment's falling
even that
apart.
slowly.
Yeah, slowly. At the economic system's destroying itself. On
Fascism's growing worldwide. Yeah.
interpersonally, we're destroying ourselves. So, like, yes, we are in a dog-eat-dog world, but it's not working.
The system's not
It's
working.
not working. We're not meant to be against each other. I don't think.
That's what I thought. But then I look at the successful people parading.
It's greed.
in greed, on the front of.
You'll do better if you're like eating other people. We're not debating that.
Everyone else
is successful. Like, pull out some steak knives. Let's do this. But like,
yeah, those people are going to going to the moon. They're gonna live on Mars and shit. But yeah, I don't know if dog eat dog works, but it's like most people think that's the way to go.
That's the I can make more money that way. Than starting a charity.
You could cancel them. You could have canceled this.
What, I could cancel you guys?
Sam's been wanting to use cancel.
Oh, yeah.
Covered you, gotcha.
I had a good riff before we started. I wanted it left in the cut. And I guess this is all I'm getting. This is my participation award.
Use your cancel powers now. Cancel powers.
Yeah. When do I get cancel powers? I'm not big on LeftTube yet. Like I've got I'm coming close to 2,000 subscribers. That's not a lot. I want to start making demands though. I want to start canceling my enemies. I'm a very petty man. And I want to start wielding power.
Like a big red electronic stamp. Cancel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on your laptop. Cancel.
Yeah. When do I get that?
And then everything shuts down in their house. All the power. You just been canceled. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you guys are the next ContraPoints, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Yeah, okay, so like, do you know ContraPoints?
Should we talk about YouTube bullshit drama
let's
right
talk
now?
about it. Let's do it.
I'm going to get canceled now. Let's do this.
Well, I mean, like,
Go for mine.
I mean, everyone's touched on Dave Chappelle. Didn't want to, but it kind of ties in, so we can talk about it. Yeah.
I still haven't seen the new special, so like,
I don't really want to. I think everyone's fucking talked about it, and I'm like,
if anyone's like, we can talk about the ContraPoints.
Let's
thing.
do it.
So for anyone who doesn't know, basically, I got into YouTube in no small part because of this woman ContraPoints. So like for a long time on YouTube, if you talked about politics, it basically meant that you were an atheist who hates women.
Oh wow,
that was sort of the situation on YouTube politics, or it was like one of those super astroturfed like woke brands that's like racism's bad, guys. Y'all
quick cut. Yeah.
Give me a beat.
We're sponsored by Bill Gates.
We're sponsored by Bill Gates. Bill Gates wants to tell you racism is bad.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Fox is fully sponsored by, like, basically exclusively paid for by Bill Gates.
Yeah, that's what you told me this weekend. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But so there's like sort of this shift recently where there's like all these newer YouTubers who really took over and have been making really great content that's like challenging the alt-right, that's debunking people, that's pushing progressive ideas, and that's sort of what I've been like getting into and doing. One of the trailblazers is this trans woman named called ContraPoints. That's her channel.
We've talked about her on here. She has this great video about where she puts the map of redlining over how Freddie Gray had a lead poisoning, and she puts the map of his where he lived and where there's lead poisoning in Baltimore over the map of redlining and how it matches up. So she's tying the past of racism to the current times. It's a great video. It's awesome. She does some great stuff.
She's very good. She on Twitter, she says some she'll I think it's usually she's like pretty drunk, and then we'll say some real hot takes that are not super responsible.
Which is weird that she would get drunk and make a hot take.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Yeah, no. Nobody certainly haven't.
You become more rational when you're drunk, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's when I'm at my most careful, obviously.
I'm going to clean the china in the cabinet.
Yeah. So
I drive better when I'm drunk. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, she's like said some things. Like sometimes it's been like jokes that I don't think are really bad at all, but like people have gotten very upset about. In this case, she said something about like she's trans, and she said a thing about how sometimes like people using like gender neutral pronouns and like pushing like pronoun check-ins makes her a bit uncomfortable. Like she said a thing about how she's a trans woman, she'll be in a room full of cis women, and then because she's there, everyone's like, well, let's all say our pronouns, and she's like, dude, like you're only doing this because of me. It makes me feel kind of weird. And then a lot of people who are non-binary are like, hey, this is really shitty, and you're kind of like saying stuff that's like anti using gender neutral pronouns. And I don't think that she made like some of her like tweets were not great, but people really dogpiled onto her, and then basically she left Twitter. Oh wow! She like deleted her Twitter because she was like, I can't handle. Yeah.
But I don't even understand what's the problem with her, because that sounds like a personal experience.
Yes,
and I don't understand what's the problem with like saying, hey, that's how I feel. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I'm also like obviously like not the person to be like.
That's me too. I'm not that person either. I don't understand if like if you're sharing a personal experience, how people would be upset with you. Like you're not speaking. You can't always speak for a group.
Well, I think that part of it is that because she's like a very prominent trans person, and she's made a lot of videos about like her experience as a trans woman. She's sort of been elevated as this like ambassador.
Here's your problem right there. It's like,
and she's been put on this pedestal.
That's the problem right there.
Really
it's like if you're leftist, you should be against the idea of hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So why you put motherfuckers on the pedestal in the first place? Have we learned nothing about hero culture? Have we learned nothing? Your heroes will disappoint you.
Okay, just real quick. Her name is?
Her name is Natalie Wynn. The channel is called ContraPoints.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
The podcast. Okay, so she expressed an opinion about
like gender neutral pronouns.
It wasn't even an opinion. It sounds from what I'm hearing from you. It sounds like a personal experience. When she goes into a room, it's like how can I make it? Like if I go into a room and then like I'm hanging out with a white dude, and I've had this, and a white dude starts being like, you know what, and start talking about like black stuff. Only because I'm around there.
Right.
It's like okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I see where other like I would imagine other non-binary and other trans people would be like, hey, I don't like what you're saying. If you're speaking generally, like as a group,
okay.
But if I'm talking about your own personal experience,
exactly, yeah.
that's my personal experience.
I should also say that tweet was the one that was like much more reasonable. She had some like less great ones where she was like saying how like she like passes, like she like people like see her as like her gender like as female, and she was like, yeah, like people being really into like not gender neutral pronouns was like kind of shitty for like people who pass like me, which is like okay, that's not a bit of a humble brag there, bit of like. Yeah, that's kind of a shit take. And there were people who I saw who were like pretty good faith, like being like, hey, this is why that's not a great thing to do.
Okay.
And then, it's Twitter, so like for every one of those, there's a bunch of people who are like, hey, you're a piece of shit. Don't hit the wall. Left Twitter is a nightmare.
Yeah, because there's so much theory, and you gotta know the theory. Whereas like right wing is just like, oh, you don't want to kill babies? You like Jesus? Come on in. What's that? You think white people should be on top? Absolutely. Welcome to the right wing.
I mean, yeah. Well, like, actually, what do you guys think about this? Because, like, this is something I've thought about a bunch, which is that I don't, like, I've talked to you, Gavin, about this, how I don't think this is, like, organic, like, that the right is just naturally disciplined. It's because they're paid for. Like, the Koch brothers or whoever will give them money and be like, attack this person. But, like, there's a very big, like...
Do you mean the group or do you mean individuals? When you're talking about, like, the Koch brothers paying an individual to talk talking points. Yeah. Or do you mean, like, the collective right wing?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I guess so much of like right-wing media people are very much funded, and so they go after specific targets.
But this is what I'm saying. Is like they're only parroting ideas that these people will tribalistically follow. So when I say when I meant like they will follow no matter what until you don't say what you're supposed to say, like Milo.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Milo says that he went against children which is a big no-no, right? He fucked. He didn't say hebdophilia, which is a big no-no in that circle. Well, I'm not going to get into judging what he's.
Great
I don't care. But that was a big no-no for the right wing.
Yeah.
And so that was you cross the border, but they will follow everything you say and not without question if you hit their talking points that they want.
Yeah.
And so so that's why you get evangelicals who will buddy up with Nazis. That's why you get Nazis who will buddy up with 9/11 truthers. You get 9/11 truthers. You get people who they will buddy up to some leftists who are centrist. You get all these people because it's tribalist, right?
I mean,
they don't question that shit.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's true. I mean, sort of the thing I want to get at, and I feel like it's probably a bit dialectical where the people who get paid influence the tribe and then the tribe influences the people who get paid.
Yeah.
But sort of more what I wanted to get at is how there's I think that probably Mitch McConnell or some Republican piece of shit could fuck a baby in a Comet Pizza t-shirt and no one on the right is going to be pissed at that really. And I don't I think
they'll try to hide it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I feel like the right will sort of has this we are sticking together. We are not going to cancel our.
Well, that's
own.
what I mean.
Right.
And I feel like to some extent it's good that we're critical of our own, but at the same time, it's we probably would have more power if we.
Well,
That's
you know?
interesting.
but it's plus and minus, right?
Yeah.
It's yes, that's the strength of them, but it's also a negative.
Yeah.
Right.
It's and that's it's a strength of ours, but it's also a negative. I also think
Yes.
I don't know. I also think it's I don't know. It's like cockroaches in the house, right? The right wing. Because the right is fighting a war against logic.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
so they need money and they need this fanaticism in their followers. So it's
Right.
so it's like a house full of cockroaches, and the left is just trying to plug up holes. They're just trying to stop things or water. Let's use water coming into the boat, and they're trying to plug up thing.
Yeah.
That's all that is. But there just keeps to be more holes showing up in the boat, and it feels like the boat's sinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that analogy made.
Yes.
I feel like it's the what is considered logical and sensible is slipping further right. And it's not logical and sensible anymore. It's just it's the fishhook theory. It's the Overton window keeps shifting over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you get a lot of people because you have the Koch brothers and people putting money into it. You
Koch
got
brother.
you got a lot of people money
Best
into
in power king,
Hey, one of them died. That's right.
Nice jamming with Hendrix, baby.
Yeah, could you imagine that band? Could you imagine that band in heaven? Yeah, but you could you have these people putting money into stuff so they can the idea of Snowflake, from Fight Club, you and I talked about it from that meme where it's the idea of Snowflake is just this language that makes people go, oh, I don't want to be a snowflake, but it's fascist language. It's reprogramming the population, and they're constantly reprogramming the population. Hey, they're telling you they're going to take away your straws. Yeah, right. It's fuck that. And so it's you're shifting more and more people over with an ideology of I don't like these people.
Yeah.
So that's where you get I think where you get the unity on that side.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that the right has an easier time moving as a unit than the...
I think that the right only punches left, and the left will punch left and right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there's so many organizations within the left.
And often more times to the left because it's way easier for me or any of us to say try and cancel a YouTuber that we have a minor grievance with than it is for us to stop some multinational corporation or
I was going to say, would that be because there is no power?
Yes.
And it's just this is
so.
much. We have no power. This is the only power we have.
Yeah.
So basically, we should give up.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
yeah, let's be capitalists now.
Well, it is a problem. Is the system's the problem. The rest of this shit is just horseshit.
Yeah.
Like you can deal with all the representation and all that shit after you fix the system. I mean, not that we shouldn't do it, not that we shouldn't put effort into it, but to put this much effort into it, it's like let's fix the system.
I'm trying to remember what the story was. I posted on Facebook, and it related to damn it! I posted a thought, and shit. Everyone who responded, I guess you could consider them left, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Misunderstood each other. Okay, so it had to do with, I guess, probably homophobia. That's the umbrella topic. I can't remember the specific, but it had to do with homophobia. One of my friend, black lady, responds. She makes one point, and everyone interpreted it as, "Oh, great, another black person who's being homophobic."
Yeah,
and she was, but basically everyone, just instead of listening to what they were saying, they were. At the end, I found myself wondering, I wonder how Trump supporters handle disagreement with each other. Because us, like you said, we have disagreements. Yeah. Okay, fuck it, I'm canceling your shit. I ain't hearing you, or I think you're being a Nazi, or it takes a while before.
You're telling me the story, right? And I'm like, oh, there you go, another black person being homophobic. I'm like, well, that's a racist fucking trope. I'm already off.
Exactly. Even
I'm in another fucking tangent.
Yeah.
I had to resist getting that.
I'm already at the movie Moonlight by the time you finish this.
But the thing is, the only reason I found myself everyone, stop, knock it off, right?
Yeah.
Because I knew everyone, where their intentions were, who they were as a people, and it was a bunch of people who didn't know each other, and they just assumed that they were saying
everyone's out to get you. Everyone's got evil intentions. They're twirling their mustache. They tied your loved one to a train track. We're all out to get you. Well, I mean, we live in times where you can't trust anyone. Like 2016. Trump was horrible. How could anyone vote for Trump? You find out every fucking white person on the planet.
Surprise!
And then it's like, wait a second, he's not that bad. And then that's where we are now. It's like, I don't know who to trust.
Holy shit, yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I guess people, we have been, I think social media has fucked our brains.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, man.
You go with fucked our
Definitely
brains?
has.
I think so.
I think it's going to force us to get to a new level of evolution.
You think Facebook's gonna do that?
Not Facebook, social media, because the appearance of social media. Okay, I remember as a kid going, I wish I had the ability to read people's mind, and now Facebook shows up. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to listen to people's mind.
Never mind, Facebook's reading your goddamn mind.
But I think what's going on is everyone's sharing their opinion, thoughts, and we're not used on taking in all this kind of input at one time. You know, usually you hang out with your clique. Yeah. You know, everyone, like, I didn't know there was people who believed that the earth was flat. That shit blew my mind. I thought that shit was a joke. No, they're serious. There are people who convince themselves.
Fuck NASA. I don't know about you guys. Like, I watch so much shit on Facebook. Like, I'm in like Jordan Peterson Facebook groups. I'm in like Trump Facebook groups. I'm in Flat Earther Facebook group.
You got that energy.
That shit's wild.
You got that energy. You're young, so you can,
exactly.
You got that like fucking my blood pressure. Your blood pressure be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of it
black
is that like I have stuff that I like that makes me happy too. Like I legit, like in 2016 or like 2017, like after Trump, like I got like really depressed because all I had were these like really depressing Facebook groups, and then these left-wing Facebook groups that were literally just they would post a right-wing meme and be like, "Wow, I hate this," and like we'd all be like, "Fuck, the world is on fire." And like literally, like the reason I got into like making left-wing content is because I started finding these videos of people like actually engaging and being like, "Here, I just fact-checked it. I just read that book that you mentioned," and it was like, "Oh, this is like giving me life again."
Nice,
and so now I've got like a well of good thoughts to go to, and
that's good. Whatever works for you.
Well said.
The flat earther shit is what. Like, have you guys seen that documentary on Netflix, Beyond the Curve?
No.
It's amazing.
Word?
It's so fucking funny, and like it's so wild.
That's the guy who ends up proving himself wrong?
Yeah, at the end they like prove themselves wrong. Like they're so dumb, and like it's such a like so many of them are so fucking stupid and like amazing.
Okay.
There's this one guy who's like, he's like bouncing these balls on these hammers, like as he's being interviewed. He's like, "Yeah, my life coach told me to do this. It's improving my memory." It's like really weird. And then at one point, it's one of the best lines in the movie. He goes like, "People think that flat earthers are just a bunch of losers who live in their mom's basement, but really, if you look at us, we're all either super successful or just doing our own thing."
Self-employed.
Yeah. Also, the leader of the movement lives with his mom. So. Not in the basement, though. But, a friend of mine, he's a comedian. He is, like, in all those Facebook groups and had a personal correspondence with this guy for a while. It's amazing because, like, he'll fuck with them. He's an actor, and so he was like, yeah, like, I'm an actor. And they were all like, dude, I would get out of that really messed up stuff going on in that industry. Which, like, not totally wrong. But they're like, yeah, like, messed up stuff in that industry. And he would fuck with them and just be like, yeah, man, it was weird. The last audition I went to, before I read for the part, they told me I had to renounce Christ. They're all like, they fully believed it. They're like, whoa, that's crazy.
First prayer out of school, out this shit.
Did you guys hear about this Walter Mosley guy?
No,
it kind of ties into what you're talking about. So he's a writer. He was writing for Star Trek Discovery. He just quit because he got in trouble for saying the N-word. He's half black, and he was telling a story about how in a writer's room, he's telling a story about how some cops were harassing some black people. And it was basically he said something along the lines, where's the story? Someone in the room, I have no idea who called HR uncomfortable.
Wow.
And so basically what he said, he was the cops used the N-word and called, like, while they were picking people up. And he was telling the story. So I guess someone called HR and complained on him. He was like, you can't use the word. And it's like, but I'm the only black person in the room. And I'm using it. It's like, are we, is it that point where we're like, you can't tell a story about, like, I sound like a reactionary at this point, but like that.
I was like, quoting the song.
but my thing is like so white people are gonna control how they feel about the word, because I've had that too. How they feel about the word that oppresses me, like
right,
like,
exactly.
What's going on now? Like,
you weren't on that slave ship. Anyways, oh shit! Walter Mosley quit Star Trek Discovery after using the N-word in a writer's room.
They're like,
real misleading headline there.
He's like, someone used. They're like, you use the N-word. And he's like, I am the N-word.
You know what I mean? You know.
I am the one who knocks.
You know what it is? This is my theory, man. They're like, fuck that. If we can't say it, no fucking way in hell you get to say it.
but like also like that you're controlling. Like I always see like comments like Joey Harlem, who's a comic in Toronto. He's always talking about how white people controlling ethnic people, what they should say and what they should do. And I got mad with a writer on we talked about it after the white
Guys Matter?
White Guys Matter tour, and she was writing some article, and
that's a show. I don't just like my slogan.
It's a
my YouTube
t-shirt.
channel's called Black Oak 666 just because I was like making fun of edgelord Satanists. I am a white boy, just so that's clear.
No, this writer was like bringing on it was only brought in like white or gay people to talk about why this white guy matter. White women and white, gay, and brown, but not black people, to talk about why this why the white men matter or whatever tour is bad.
Is that like the interviews and stuff? Because he had like John Paul and Alan Shane Lewis on too.
No. This is a Now magazine.
Yeah.
No, you're talking about the radio interview.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Now
I
magazine.
see, yeah.
And we went at it, and she was like, "Oh, I don't think it affects everyone." I'm like, "No, it's a Black Lives Matter thing. It doesn't affect everyone. Stop co-opting the message. Stop co-opting the shit." Is there like a thing where the black anti-black racism movement or anti-black racism movement is being co-opted by other movements? Like when you look at this, when they're like, "Oh, I don't want to hear the N-word," it's like shut the fuck up. But in a PC, shut the fuck up.
I think that's like. Sorry, do you want?
No.
No, go ahead.
I think that's like very much a thing where a lot of people who like. we were talking like this weekend about like comedy being like a meritocracy. Like obviously, isn't like any like activism too is very much like not a meritocracy where like more privileged people rise to the top because activism doesn't pay. It's something that like you're doing on the side that like people who have more privilege who are able to devote a ton of their time and who have like like white privilege or whatever will be more likely to be like picked up by magazines and stuff. Those are the people who rise to the top, and those become the people who like control the conversation a lot of the time.
You can listen to the rest of this conversation, what Sam was saying, in part 2 on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/theuncolonized. It's $5 a month. You get 8 episodes. I hate doing this, but we got to pay for stuff, so I got to do it. But anyway, yeah, go there. Check out the second part of this conversation. It's a good one. It's in Ottawa, so I don't know if you're from Ottawa. That might mean something to you. All right, patreon.com/theuncolonized.